Stop thinking that because someone is divorced, that they are unmarried. I'm Christine Bacon. You guys know my thing. And before I go further, if you like the topics I do, if you like this show, please remember to like, subscribe, and share this with a friend. And if you feel so inclined, please consider donating to my ministry in the link below, buymeacoffee.com. Stop thinking that because someone is divorced, that they're unmarried. That, my friend, is a new thought. It is so new that it's really within the past 50, 60 years that people have believed that. Ever since the sexual revolution and the overturning of the church in the 60s, and when free love and marriages, the divorce rate just shot up. And people started living with each other, even as young as the 60s, 70s, and 80s. When I was young, people would walk around scandalously and say, oh, so-and-so is living in sin. We are in a mighty battle in this world. We need to save our souls. We need to save the souls of others. If you are considering dating someone and you know that they are divorced, instead of saying in your head that they are divorced, heck, I even know people that are like, well, I had already left the marriage, so I figured it was okay to date because I no longer considered myself married. Holy cow, when did that become a thing? Even in the eyes of the civil courts, you have a ring on, where you're still legally married, whether you took your ring off or not, you are married. You cannot date, you cannot sleep with someone. But look at how far our culture has devolved, but go backwards. And it was only, and I get it. Our country's 250 years old and it seems so short. 500 years, maybe that seems long. But Christ himself was here a mere 2,000 years ago. And for the thousands of years preceding Christ until 1,500 years after Christ, it was always, always, always understood that marriage is indissoluble. The church still stands on that. That never changed. It wasn't until Luther came that he started questioning, well, it was never really a sacrament. A divorce is something given by a civil court that has no authority over your marriage. A civil court has no right to marry you or unmarry you. This is assuming you're Catholic. If you are divorced, but you are married validly, you're still married. If that man you are dating has a divorce, it doesn't make him unmarried. He's still attached to that woman. You're still attached to your man. Divorce decree is meaningless, except for in the eyes of the court system that wants to give you money and gives you permission to go ahead and, enter into a so-called union with someone else. I think reading about the sacramentality of a marriage in John Clarke's book, Betrayed Without a Kiss, it says, and I'll start reading on page 60, about sacrament. Luther argued that he found nothing in sacred scripture to support the hypothesis that marriage was a sacrament, matrimony was a sacrament. No, the whole chapters preceding this explained why it was. He claimed that the Catholic Church had misunderstood or intentionally perverted the language of Ephesians 5:32. As John Witt explains, Luther blamed St. Jerome for a bad translation. Jerome had just misunderstood it a millennium earlier when he translated the Greek word mysterion as the Latin word sacramentum and included that in the standard Latin translation of the Bible, the Vulgate. The Catholic Church has gotten it wrong ever since, he says. Further, Luther decided that the book of Tobias, the book that was so beautiful in its explanation of God's providence in marriage, should not be part of the scriptural canon. Luther, a man, a mere mortal, simply threw it out. Luther's theological stance meant in practice that virtually every Christian bride and groom over the course of 1,500 years had simply misunderstood their matrimonial calling as a sacramental vocation. Like many aspects of the Catholic faith, the sacraments underwent a development of doctrine over the centuries. Part of this development included concluding the exact number of sacraments. It was not until the 12th century that the Catholic Church formally established 7 and only 7 sacraments. And Clark writes that if that seems odd, the idea that Catholics were unsure about the exact number of sacraments, consider that the official canon of the New Testament wasn't pronounced until 382, much before any Protestant church came into being. So if you are a Protestant and you're watching this, remember, please don't fight the church. Go to Christ, his apostles, the church leaders before your Protestant leaders ever existed. The New Testament was given to us in 382. But as to whether matrimony was a sacrament was not even a topic for much argument. From the time of the apostles, matrimony has been broadly deemed an indissoluble union, notably expressed by early fathers of the church, popes, church councils, and the actions of Christians themselves. The earliest Christian men and women deemed marriage a sacrament, even if their notion was expressed in different terminology. The church fathers, especially St. Augustine, also taught the sacramentality of matrimony. It certainly had a scriptural basis. Peter Elliott notes that Jesus' teaching in Matthew 19, 3-9, and Mark 10, verses 2-12, provide the definitive revelation which raises marriage to the level of a sacrament. Again, for 1,500 years, Christian couples in the lands of Christendom had unceasingly considered matrimony an indissoluble bond. This is a fantastic book, by the way. Everyone should get it. Actually, I think I'll put a link in the show notes. But please don't put your soul in the state of mortal sin. Don't let your heart get attached to someone to whom is not open to marriage. That man or woman is not available. They're not available. There's an obstacle. Don't let your heart fall in love with a person like that, thinking, well, maybe they'll change. Maybe we can get an annulment. Don't date a married person. Don't date a married person for your own protection. Because then you'll have to go through the trouble of, well, let's go see if the church ever deemed their marriage valid anyway. Say to the man or say to the woman, we won't date. If you go check with the church and see if your marriage was in fact valid or was in fact invalid, once we know, if you come back to me and let me know you're married or unmarried, only then can we date. I won't date you if you're married. Maybe controversial, but guess what? Truth in 2025 is always controversial. Satan is going to fight it at every opportunity, just as Our Lady said to the children of Fatima in 1917, that the final battle between God and Satan would be for marriage and the family. Fight. Fight for marriage. Fight for the family. And if this is paining you, it's proof that Our Lady was right. If you need any help, if you need any direction, if you need any encouragement, I'm here to help. I'm here to guide. I'm not here to judge. Goodness gracious, I can't judge anybody that's in this position. I'm the greatest sinner of all, especially in terms of marriage. But I want to help you. Find me at Christine@breakfastwithbacon.com. We'll walk through this together. I'm Dr. Christine Bacon. Thanks for watching this Bacon Bit. And as always, remember to live your life sunny side up.